Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Better off dead. Got to check my audio here. This is Monday. All right, I think I sound all right. Monday. I'm usually not loud enough, but if I turn my gain up a little bit too much, it's like it doesn't sound good. I could probably turn my mic up a little bit more over here. Let me see. Crank that up a little bit further. That should be all right. And then we go to settings here. Yeah. All right. Hopefully that's all right. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out again. All right. Yesterday, some really good and some really bad for me. We were 3-2 on the show. I wish it was better than that. We started out 3-0, so it looked like we were gonna have a really good day. The Jets looked like they were kind of dead in the water. I mean, they were not doing well in parts of that game, and they wound up making a comeback, kind of similar to what they did against Tampa Bay. But this time they actually won the game outright in the end of it. Cincinnati defense, man, I mean, that's the problem with laying points with a team like Cincinnati. Their defense is awful. I apologize, by the way. I'm definitely not feeling well right now. My voice is like as bad as it has been. This is like, I don't know what's going on. I'm definitely not feeling well. Going to try to get this show done, man. I'm powering through. But yeah, the Jets wound up winning the game outright. The problem with Cincinnati laying points, the back door is like always open because their defense is terrible. And the Jets were able to actually just pull off the outright win. I think they actually put Justin Fields back in the game, and he won the game. I didn't really care who was quarterbacking for the Jets, to be honest. It was a bad spot for Cincinnati. We got the job done. Jets finally win a game. The Jets, it's not like they've been getting blown out in games, though. They've had chances to win other ones, especially week 1. They probably should have beaten Pittsburgh. And then we got a win on Baltimore as well. Baltimore covered. If you got Baltimore in the middle of the week and had to lay the 6.5 or whatever, didn't even matter. They still won and covered that spread too. Very nice bounce back performance from Baltimore. Baltimore is still, and once again, the favorite to win their division. So that's saying something. We started out with a win in hockey as well with the Tampa Bay Lightning winning on the money line. Close game. They won by 1. I mean, I'll take it. I think they were the better team in the game mostly, so they were winning by 1, I think, multiple different times. It just kept becoming a tied game, and they finally pulled away. We lost on the Chicago Blackhawks by 1 goal. Haven't looked at the box score on that one yet, but it was a close game. Toronto, by the way, I think they absolutely dominated the shot count in their game, so if they hadn't won, that would have been really ridiculous. But yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks, I still think it was worth a flyer. No pun intended. Not the Philadelphia Flyers. Chicago's an underdog. I mean, they played well enough to have a chance to win that game, and that's basically what you want as an underdog. So I wasn't totally frustrated with that, although Chicago's done that to me multiple times. And then the Clippers missed by 1 point. That was a game where I don't know exactly how that game went the way that it did. The Clippers looked like they were going to blow. Who were they playing? They looked like they were going to blow their opponent out of the building early on. I can't remember who that game was against. Who the hell was it against? I'm going to look real quick here. I don't even remember, man. I don't remember anything anymore. Oh, yeah. It was against Portland. I thought Portland was in a very bad spot. Yeah. Portland had a terrible shooting game in that game, and the Clippers still didn't cover. I mean, it's ridiculous. They still could have potentially lost the game, maybe. I don't know how that's the case with how poorly Portland shot. Portland was terrible shooting in the game. Clippers were up double digits early in the game, like first quarter, second quarter. Thought they were going to run away with the game. It was looking good, and then all of a sudden they were like losing around halftime. They turned it around. It was like a tied game late in the third. Clippers retook the lead. Clippers were winning and covering in the fourth quarter. And then it came down to just the fact that they could not pad that lead any further. I think they got it back up to 9 or 10. They couldn't pad it anymore, and it wound up on the key number of 7. I mean, that's what always happens at the end of a game that's like right in that range there, because teams stop intentionally fouling when they're down 7 because it's 3 possessions, and that's exactly what happened at the end of that game. Very frustrating. The Clippers missed that cover by 1 point. We're going to move on to today. We're going to have 3 plays. They're all in the NBA, even though we have other sports in action. All the other sports don't have a whole lot that they're offering. Winless teams, what are we talking about? Which team is winless? What are we talking about? I don't even know. I just talked about too many things at once. Winless teams do what? I don't even know. The Clippers are not winless. The Clippers are 2-1. Well, I forget what else. Oh yeah. Jets. Yeah, of course. The Jets. Yeah. Well, I mean, winless teams, you know you're going to get an effort out of them because they don't want to get embarrassed, right? Even though there's the whole thing, you want to tank for the first draft pick, but like really, like a lot of times the first overall draft pick doesn't work out anyway. So like you don't want to have a winless season, dude. You want to get a win. So teams are still going to be fighting to get a win if they're winless. So you're getting that motivation when that's the case. But yeah, I'm out of Survivor because I had the fucking Falcons in my money Survivor. Absolutely ridiculous. Couldn't believe how bad Kirk Cousins was in that game against a horrific Miami defense. I don't even get it, man. I should have just gone with the Eagles. I was thinking about doing it, but I was like, I kind of still want to save them because they have more future value. I'm future oriented. That's some fucking bullshit, man. So now I just have college Survivor left for Survivor, which it's setting up nicely for me. I just hope that I can continue to survive in that league and get some money there. I'm right on the cusp of being in the money right now in my NFL Pick'em with a 5-0 NFL Pick'em week this time, which was awesome because obviously I had Baltimore, even though it was a 6.5 number in that game, I still did it. I had Baltimore Chargers, of course, Jets, and then I added Green Bay in the Sunday night game and the Houston Texans. So 5-0 sweep in that one. I almost went with the Broncos instead of Green Bay, which would have been easier, but whatever. Either way, so that got me like right one pick away from being in the money right now, but there's still a lot of the season left there. I would definitely love to land in the money in some of these pick'ems. I'm in 2 college football ones too, where you have to pick 6 or 7 games per week, and I did not really do that well this week in those, so I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Fantasy football, because you guys care about all the stuff that I have going on sports related. Fantasy football, I have a chance to be 7-1 in my main league here. I'm down 18 points. My opponent has nobody left, and I have Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice going in the Monday night game. So it seems likely that I should win, but you never know, man. I mean, you never really want to be behind, but we got to get it done. Like, of course, I need to avoid a fucking injury here. I don't want to jinx any of that shit, but hopefully it happens. I mean, they're going up against a pretty bad Washington defense, so hopefully I can get enough fantasy points in that one. Mahomes to Rice, that combo is going to be getting me points in this game, so let's do it. All right, let's go to today's board here. 2 hockey games. I'm not going to spend too much time on these games. St. Louis is at Pittsburgh here. The St. Louis Blues, they're coming off losing to the Detroit Red Wings on Saturday. A close game, really. There was an empty net goal at the end of that game. St. Louis wound up losing 6-4, but that was one of those games that was a hard-fought game, man. It's against a pretty decent Detroit team. Now they're going to go to Pittsburgh, although Pittsburgh does have a good record so far. St. Louis has Detroit again next tomorrow. So are they going to look past Pittsburgh here in this like Red Wings sandwich here and be looking towards Detroit because they have to play them tomorrow and it is in a revenge game? I don't know, man. I mean, if Pittsburgh didn't have a 6-2 record, I would say, or 6-2-1, I would say, yeah, maybe. Pittsburgh, though, I don't know about the spot that they're in either, though, because they had a 4-game win streak going, and they lost their win streak on Saturday. A lot of times when a team loses a win streak, that will hang them over a little bit. They lost in a shootout to Columbus. Columbus, not a very good team, though, really. I mean, they give up a lot of goals, at least. So I don't know how much that's really going to hang Pittsburgh over into this one. Pittsburgh will probably have Jarry back in net in this one because Silovs played the last game. They just alternate between the two. Neither one is that much better than the other. St. Louis did use Bennington on Saturday, who was their top goalie, so I don't know if he's going to be playing again here or if they're going to switch him out in this one. Looking at the money in this one, I mean, this is a difficult handicap, man. The money is coming in on St. Louis. They're up from -115 to -120 on the money line, 83% of the cash, 70% of the tickets on Pittsburgh. I'm not quite sure I agree with that, man. The spot looks sandwichy to St. Louis, other than the fact that Pittsburgh is off to a good start. Like, do we still consider Pittsburgh to be not that good of a team? Because that's the truth. They're not really that good, at least unless they somehow continue to win like this. I mean, they've had not that difficult of a schedule so far. I don't know. I don't really quite see it. I would probably lean to taking Pittsburgh as the home underdog there, but the money is definitely disagreeing with that. I don't want to touch that game at all. My Boston Bruins are at Ottawa. Bruins are yet again a pretty big underdog here, and the Bruins, I think, might be in a letdown spot because they just pulled off a big win over Colorado, who is one of the best teams in hockey here, and the Bruins have been alternating their goalies the last couple of days, so I don't know if it's going to be Korpisalo back in net here. If it is, that's not good for the Bruins. Swayman is obviously the better of their two goalies. The Bruins did just break a 6-game loss streak, though. So sometimes when you break a losing streak, it's like you end that losing momentum, and it can kind of carry momentum, like positive momentum forward with you. So they do have that going for them, but it does kind of look like a letdown spot to me. Are the Bruins going to be focused because it's going to be Ottawa, and Ottawa does have Ullmark, the former Bruin goalie? I don't know. I mean, the Bruins have played Ottawa since that deal was made anyway, though, so I don't know if that's really that big of a deal. Ullmark might not play in this game because he played 5 games in a row, I think. Yeah, so it might be time that Ottawa actually goes to Merrill Lane and again here. If it's going to be Merrill Lane and against Korpisalo, I would probably say an over might make sense in this game. The total did go up a little bit from 5.5 to 6, although the money looks like it's coming in on the under right now. But if it's the two second-string goalies, I think there is a pretty significant drop-off to those two goalies, so I would be looking towards an over if that was the case. Plus, I think both teams are kind of in a lack of focus spot, which can kind of affect the defense sometimes. Ottawa's coming off a 7-1 road win over Washington. Just a ridiculous win there. Huge blowout. They could be in a letdown spot as well. So I don't even know what I would do on the side in this game, man. This game, I have no read on the side really at all. The Bruins have 73% of the tickets, 98% of the cash on them. Ottawa's dropped from -180 to -169 on the money line. I mean, I was at first thinking, well, the Bruins are in a letdown spot. I would probably lean to Ottawa. Both teams are in letdown spots here, though, kind of. So I don't know, man. I mean, I really don't have an opinion on the side other than the market read is saying Bruins as an underdog here. I'm certainly not going to recommend it. I don't want to touch it, man. If we do see that the backup goalies are in, like I said, it could be an over, which, by the way, I had the over correct in the Vancouver-Edmonton game last night, although I think Vancouver did actually still go with their starting goalie in that one. But whatever. I don't know what else I have to say about it, but yeah. There's 52% of the cash on the under and 90% of the tickets on the over in that game, on the Ottawa and Boston game, but I don't really see that. Like, if it's the two backup goalies, with the teams not in good spots, I would say over makes sense in that game. NBA, before I completely lose my voice here, I hate this. We have there are at least several games I kind of want to hit here, and I have 3 plays here as well. Cleveland is at Detroit. I mean, that's a big game, so I'll talk about it. Cleveland off to a 2-1 start here. They're on a 2-game win streak. They beat the Bucks yesterday. That was a pretty big win for them. They got to go back out on the road here, and they have not covered yet on the road. And they do have Boston up next, but the Bruins are a winless. I mean, the Bruins, the Celtics are a winless team here. So is Cleveland really going to look ahead to Boston now? I don't know, man. They might actually show up with some focus on Detroit here, but they are coming off a pretty big win over Milwaukee, Giannis and company. I assume, did Giannis play in that game? I assume he did, but I'm not even 100% sure. He did. He had a good game, too. Really good game. So big win for Cleveland there. Cleveland was not as good on the road against Detroit last year. I just was interested because I thought that was the case. I went and I checked, and Cleveland, they were 1-1 in their 2 games at Detroit last year, and the only game they only won by 3 points. So Detroit was pretty competitive against Cleveland at home last year. Detroit, they just beat the Celtics yesterday, but I don't know how much weight do we really put into that, because the Celtics are just obviously not playing well right now. The Celtics were way ahead in that game in the first half, and then they completely imploded. So I don't know what to think about that game. Both of these teams played yesterday, so there's no real rest advantage one way or the other necessarily here. I don't know what I want to do with this game, to be honest. Detroit is the team that's staying at home, though, so they have less travel. So I guess maybe that's kind of the clinching factor. And then the fact that the money is also saying take Detroit plus the points. Cleveland's down from a 4-point favorite to a 2.5-point favorite here on the in the market. 93% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on Cleveland. So Cleveland's a very public team as usual, and the money is actually disagreeing and saying take the points with the Pistons. So I guess I will default to agreeing with that, but I don't have a strong opinion on that one. Looking at the injury situation there, Garland is still out for Cleveland. That's kind of the biggest injury there in that game, because he is their point guard. So do with that info what you will, I guess. Orlando at Philadelphia. I think the first thing you'll notice here is that why is Orlando a 5.5-point favorite at Philly? Well, it's because Joel Embiid is hurt again. What else is new? Embiid is going to miss this game, I'm pretty sure, so that's why the Magic are a pretty significant road favorite here. And, of course, Paul George is also still out for the Sixers, although it seems like they might get them both back for their next game. It looks like, I don't know, we'll see. 83% of the tickets, only 72% of the cash on Orlando, though. So Orlando is actually the public team here. The public's still basically thinking about what happened last year, because how could a 1-2 Orlando team who have their losses aren't even good, really, against Atlanta and Chicago, like how could they be getting the public ticket percentage? I don't know, man. The one other difficult thing for Orlando here, though, you think they would be in a bounce back spot, because that was an ugly loss last time out. They lost by 12 points to Chicago at home. Chicago looks like they're a decent team this year, though, man. They're on the upstart. Like they were all right last year too. They made one of the last playoff spots last year too. They got into that stupid playoff round robin thing. Yeah, it's an embarrassing loss for Orlando at home for that to happen. They get to go out on the road, so sometimes that's a positive. But this is their first road game of the season, so that doesn't make it that easy for Orlando, because they just haven't done it yet this year. Philadelphia, they're undefeated. So, again, I don't understand how the public is laying points with Orlando here. Philadelphia, they haven't really done much impressive yet. They did pull off the upset against the Celtics in their first game on the road, which should have probably been a win for the Celtics. And then all they did was barely beat Charlotte in their next game. Sixers didn't play yesterday. I believe neither of these teams played yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, both teams were off yesterday, so they have like a similar rest situation. Philadelphia is just staying at home, though, and because it's an injured player spot, I talk about that. You know, when your star player gets injured, a lot of times the team will step up for that first game, play well, just to compensate for that injury, and you're going to get extra value. So I would actually lean to taking the points with the 76ers in that one, even though on the surface, looking at their records, it looks like that would be the public move, but it looks like it's not. So I guess even better, if you want to deal with this game, I would say the Sixers plus the points. They've needed comebacks in their first two games. Yeah, true. One was a fourth quarter one against the Celtics. Against Charlotte, though, I mean, all that tells me is that the Sixers, they just like, I mean, they had a bad game in this one. Like, they played pretty poorly against a pretty poor Charlotte team. So I think that will kind of give Philadelphia more focus. I think you're going to see a motivated Philly team in that one. Atlanta at Chicago. Atlanta coming off a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, although it was by 17 points. That was on Saturday. They're going back out on the road. Doesn't really look like that bad of a spot to me for Atlanta here. I know that was a big game against Oklahoma City, but it wasn't close. So I think you might see Atlanta just show up focus here, try to start the road trip off on the right foot. Chicago's off to a 2-0 start, and they beat Detroit and Orlando both as underdogs. So I think Atlanta is the play in this one. Chicago could be in a little bit of a letdown spot after pulling off those two big wins. I'm not going to say they're necessarily going to overlook a team that's decent like the Hawks, but I think the spot sets up a lot better for the Hawks. The money is agreeing with that. They flipped from a 1-point dog to a 2-point favorite in this one. 71% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the Hawks. The money is agreeing with me on that one. I agree with myself in that one. Josh Giddey looks like he's a game-time decision for Chicago, so something to keep in mind there. Not sure if he's going to play or not. I don't know how much that would affect the line. He is one of their starters, though. We'll see. Not a game that I am jumping out of my seat to play, though. Boston, New Orleans, I'm going to give out a play in that one. I don't know how many of these other games I really want to talk about. Toronto, San Antonio, I guess is just kind of interesting because San Antonio is off to a 3-0 start. Huge upset of Dallas in their first game. Then, not a huge upset as far as Dallas being a heavy favorite because they weren't. They were a small favorite, but it was a big game for San Antonio. They, I believe, didn't cover the next game at New Orleans, but they still won. And then they won easily against Brooklyn. I mean, Brooklyn, one of the worst teams in the NBA. That was yesterday, though. So San Antonio, they are playing a third game in 4 days, a fourth game in 6 days, although they are playing this back-to-back here at home at least, so they're not traveling. Toronto just lost yesterday to Dallas, so I did get that one right. My fading of the market, I think, only went 2 and 3 in those games yesterday because the Celtics couldn't hang on. I forget what the other ones were. Although I'll talk about one thing I forgot to take into account with that Lakers game where that would have probably kept me from leaning to Sacramento. There was one thing that was important that I didn't know about in that game. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Toronto, they lost to Dallas yesterday. They're on a back-to-back, but they're traveling from Dallas to San Antonio they're not doing the Texas triple leg because they have Houston back at home after that, but it's tough to play these two games back-to-back, man, against Dallas and San Antonio. So I don't know. The spot doesn't look that great to me for Toronto in that one as far as the rest is concerned. Even though losing to Dallas, there's no real shame in that. Dallas is under the radar, like a pretty good team, whatever. I don't know. I just thought this game was a little bit interesting and has a somewhat competitive line. The interesting thing about it is that the Raptors are, for some reason, a public underdog here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, dude. I mean, I think these market reads in the morning are just kind of like way off sometimes, like, because even with the Clippers game last night, the public wound up being on the Clippers last night. So I saw the late market read. I'm like, oh, fuck. Even though I still think my handicap for the situation on that one was fine. And, they definitely could have covered. But, fuck. I don't know, man. But sometimes you have to take these early morning market reads with a grain of salt here. But this one, I mean, kind of looks fairly strong. I don't know why 82% of the tickets are on the Raptors and only 55% of the cash. And the Spurs have gone up from a 5-point favorite to a 5.5-point favorite. I'll probably agree with that one towards laying the points with the Spurs in that one. Really doesn't make sense that Toronto's a public underdog, though. Yeah, you can call it the Texas two-step. Makes it sound a little bit gayer, I guess. Public thinks they're smart trying to fade the Spurs. I don't really know because the public never does that. Like the public, pretty much they're gonna make the play on the team that has the star player like Wemba, the team that's undefeated so far. I see absolutely no reason why the public would be on Toronto. So it doesn't make any sense to me, man. So I just don't quite get it personally. So I don't know. I had to take my headphones off. Oh, jeez. Oh, my neck, my voice, my neck, my back, whatever. OKC at Dallas, I guess I'll talk about because it's a big game. I mean, I know I skipped Brooklyn and Houston, but it's a double-digit favorite in that one. I don't know. I don't really have anything interesting to say about that game. OKC is off to a 3-0 start. They didn't play yesterday, but they are playing a third straight game on the road here. Going to Dallas. Dallas could potentially take them by surprise here. And also, I believe this is there a revenge scenario here from last year? I always forget who beat who in the postseason last year. No, that's right. Oklahoma City beat Denver, not Dallas. I don't know what I was thinking. So it's not a playoff revenge spot here, but it is still going to be a big game for Dallas. I mean, Dallas is hosting the returning champs here. The returning champs, OKC, are still undefeated here. Dallas is probably better than their 1-2 record looks. They finally got a win, which is good because that gets that monkey off your back after you hadn't been playing well to start the season. Finally, they get a win. Got to look at the injury situation here, though. It looks like Gafford is day-to-day is kind of the main thing for Dallas. Jalen Williams is still out for OKC probably until tomorrow, and it looks like Caruso also has Ann Holmgren as a game-time decision. So a lot of moving parts in this game as far as the injuries. The Thunder are still a big road favorite here, up from 7.5 to 8.5. 97% of the tickets, only 83% of the cash. So they're public. I think you might be getting some value with Dallas in this one. I would lean to taking the points with Dallas in that one. I think it'll be a big game for them effort-wise. So that would be my opinion on that one. I think Dallas due to their bad start, I think they're being a little bit undervalued right now. Although they still don't have a point guard, so there is that. Phoenix, Utah will be one of my plays, so I'm going to skip it for a second. Denver at Minnesota is one of the big games of the night here. Denver, they've only played 2 games so far. They're 1-1. They had a blowout win yesterday against a Phoenix team that just really doesn't look good. Phoenix traded away Kevin Durant, and one of the main guy that they got for him was Jalen Green, and I think he's hurt right now. Denver going to Minnesota now. It's going to be a big game, I think, for both teams here. Denver's coming off an easy win on Saturday. So I see both teams being focused in this one. Minnesota's 2-1. Minnesota did play yesterday, though, although that was their home opener. They got the win over Indiana, but it was a close game. And what we're going to see with the line here is, I'll point it out in a minute. The line is going to make no sense in this game. But there is a reason for it. So Minnesota, they barely got by Indiana yesterday, but they are staying at home, so at least there is that. But they're playing a third game in 4 days and fourth game in 6 days, so that does make it a little bit difficult. They've had a packed schedule, so the rest scenario is in favor of Denver here. But then you go and you look at the number, and it's like, well, why did Denver move from initially being a pick'em to a 5.5-point favorite here? Well, that's because Anthony Edwards is hurt. I believe he got hurt in the game against Indiana yesterday. Yeah, he started. He only played 3 minutes in the game, so that's part of the reason why Minnesota, I think, only won this game by 4. So it is going to be an injured player theory spot for Minnesota, so they might step up their game for that reason because they know their star player is out, so now they have to play well without him. So you're getting a little bit of value potentially on Minnesota because the line did move to 5.5 here, but Minnesota's public, 91% of the tickets, only 84% of the cash on the T-Wolves, so I mean, I think the value is there, just based on the number. I do think that number is an overreaction to the injury, and I do think you're going to see the T-Wolves have some extra motivation for that reason. How tired are they going to be because they also played yesterday in a close game? That's kind of the question. The public being on Minnesota as a home underdog worries me a little bit. It's almost like the public doesn't even realize Edwards is hurt right now, or they just don't like the Nuggets being off to a 1-1 start. The Nuggets are the better of these two teams, though. Even with Edwards, the Nuggets are actually still the better team, as the odds makers were telling you by lining this thing as a pick'em. If it was still a pick'em and Edwards was playing, I would probably lean to the Nuggets here. But the way that it stands right now at the 5.5, I mean, I would probably slightly disagree with it and start leaning towards the T-Wolves in the injured player spot. But I don't want to do it as far as the fact they played more games in their schedule recently. Bad spot. Yeah, I mean, it's a bad spot as far as the fact that they played yesterday. The back-to-back, it's difficult. I mean, some coaches manage it better than others as far as who they play in those games, but these were both big games for Minnesota, so it seems like they're just trying to play all their starters in both games for the most part. Edwards is out, which also means that Minnesota used more of their bench yesterday because Edwards was out for most of the game, so that's not good either for Minnesota. Unders in Dallas because of all the points last night. Yeah, maybe. The total did drop a little bit from 228.5 to 227. I probably agree with that, but I don't really know. I don't do much with NBA totals at all, except in the postseason. I kind of find some spots to do it. But, yeah, what is it, Dallas and Toronto? Is that what that game is? No, that was yesterday. Yeah, Dallas scored a shit ton of points yesterday. Very high-scoring game with Toronto. And then, who are they playing here? Oklahoma City. Yeah, the public is going to be on an over in that game, but you're right. It could be more of a playoff-style atmosphere because these teams, they're both good teams, and they still are both pretty good defensively. So, and OKC was off yesterday, so that will help their defense rest-wise. But I don't love the fact that Dallas played yesterday, so that means their defense is going to be more tired. So I don't think I could actually get there with an under in that one. Dallas, I mean, they do have issues with their offense, not really having a point guard, and then they do play pretty good defense, so take from all of that what you want to, I guess. Memphis is at Golden State. Golden State lost to Portland, which was one of the winners that I gave out on the show here. I'm now 6-2 after the Clippers lost yesterday in the NBA so far. Golden State coming back home from that, but they've had 2 days off, so it's not really a bad spot for Golden State. They're coming off an embarrassing loss, coming back home. I think you're going to definitely see focus from Golden State in this one. Memphis also coming off a game that I gave out on the show, blowing out Indiana, another win for me on Saturday. They've had 1 day off, and they're at least taking that momentum out on the road with them. So I don't see this really being that bad of a spot for either team, although for Memphis, it is a third game in 4 days, but they did play the first couple of those games at home, so they're at least only traveling for this part of the journey so far. Golden State's a big favorite. They're up from 8-8 with juice. 71% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on Golden State. I'll slightly agree with it. I'll agree with laying the points with Golden State here because Golden State, I think they're in a bounce-back spot. They have 1 extra day of rest. They're coming off of just an embarrassing loss. Grizzlies might be feeling a little bit higher on themselves after a blowout win, so I do think the Warriors probably are the way I would lean in that one, so I agree with that. Lakers come to Minnesota next. Yeah, and they already played each other once, and I gave out a winner on that one, too, with LA in the revenge spot. Buffalo Wild Wings, no, I'm not. I'm not going to go infect the waitresses. I only go to Buffalo Wild Wings when I'm hanging out with friends and we want to all do the wings. I honestly don't think they're that good. I think it's pretty low quality shit. All right, let's get to my best bets here, and then I'm going to talk about Monday Night Football and the baseball game, the World Series, before I get out of here. I got 3 best bets that are all in the NBA. Let's keep rolling with the NBA, man. Even though I know I lost yesterday, 6-2 in the NBA so far, with the only really, really bad loser being on the Celtics. First up is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans against the Celtics. Yep, I think the Celtics are going to go 0-4 here. I mean, you might actually be able to get 1.5 here on the Pelicans. The Celtics are still getting a ton of respect from public bettors. 94% of the tickets, 99% of the cash. I'm not sure I buy that cash percentage. Pelicans are favored, even though the odds makers are telling you the Celtics are the slightly better team, because the Pelicans, I think, would be getting about 2 for home court. But as far as the injury situation is concerned, I mean, we know Celtics are without Tatum for a long time. Pelicans don't really have any, their main injury is DeJounte Murray, who we already know that. He's out for the season, so not really anything to see there. I think this is a terrible spot for the Celtics. I think they're going to start 0-4 here, man. They're playing a third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, all in different cities. They're having to travel from Detroit to New Orleans with no days off. They played pretty tough against Detroit yesterday. They've had a difficult schedule so far. Philadelphia, Knicks, Detroit. They had that revenge game against the Knicks, couldn't win. Played Detroit, couldn't win. And they have Cleveland up next, which is a big game, and then revenge against Philly after that. I think they might overlook New Orleans here, man. I think it's a bad spot for the Celtics. Just the rest scenario is terrible as well. Yeah, I think the Celtics are going to go 0-4 here, man. Pelicans also, the public doesn't really want them because they're 0-2, which I think is why the public is on the Celtics, because they're going to see, well, the Celtics can't possibly start 0-4, right? And the Celtics have played a pretty difficult schedule so far. Public doesn't remember that New Orleans is actually pretty good, and the reason why New Orleans was so bad last year is because they were massively injured, but they're pretty healthy right now. They got Zion back. Zion has been playing really well so far. Yes, they're coming off a difficult loss to San Antonio at home. I believe New Orleans covered. That was in overtime, but that was on Friday. So New Orleans has multiple extra days of rest here, and they're not even traveling. So it's a huge advantage for New Orleans here, which, yeah, some of that is baked into the number. I think part of that is in the number here. That's part of the reason why New Orleans is favored, but you're basically just asking who's going to win the game here. So I think that it's still worth it to play New Orleans at a number that's basically just pick the winner. Yeah, that's the way I'm going in that one. New Orleans is the much more rested team right now. They're still looking for their first win of the season, so you know you're going to get motivation out of them here, and they're probably going to want to try to get that here at home before they have to go out on the road and face some teams that they're probably not going to beat on the road. So New Orleans is going to be the first play there. It's really mostly a rest spot, like a horrible rest spot for the Celtics. Thank you, sir. Yeah. It's not my favorite play, though, really. I don't know, man. Well, yeah, I don't know. It might be my least favorite of these three, actually. Next up, we're going to go with Utah plus the 1.5. I forget who this is even against. Oh, it's against the Phoenix Suns. They suck. Do the Suns deserve to be a road favorite against anybody? Probably not. Maybe against the absolute worst teams, which the Jazz are kind of being lined like they're one of the worst teams in all of basketball. I don't know, man. The Jazz have been competitive so far, and they tend to be somewhat competitive at home because they have like an elevation edge at home. Suns, very public, 92% of the tickets, only 73% of the cash. Probably because people can name players on the Suns. They can't name anybody on the Jazz. Even though Jazz have some under-the-radar players, man. Marking in there, they got Ace Bailey, my man. I love Ace Bailey. I thought he was the best player in the draft class. I mean, I might be proven wrong about that. We'll see. But Jazz, I mean, I think they're on the rise a little bit. I think the Suns' stock is actually going down. Even though I'm not really a fan of Durant, especially at this point. I don't think he's that good anymore. They unloaded him, but whatever. They do still have Devin Booker, I think, they're Phoenix. He's kind of their big star at this point, that name. But this is a terrible spot for Phoenix, though. Phoenix, they're playing a third game in 4 days. They were off yesterday, but they're doing the back-to-back, well, not back-to-back, but 2 games in 3 days in high elevation at Denver, at Utah. That's not an easy thing to do. I know they got blown out by Denver, but I don't really think this is a bounce-back spot for them, man. They've been blown out in 2 straight games, but maybe Phoenix is just not that good of a team. Maybe they're just not good on the road. They're playing a 4th game in 6 days, also all in different cities. That's not easy to do either. They come back home and they have a bigger game after this against Memphis. Yeah, I think they're going to get caught here. I think it's a bad spot. Utah has actually not been that bad. So far, they crushed LA, the Clippers, not the Lakers. They crushed the Clippers in their opener, and then they had a road game against Sacramento where they only lost by 1. That's not a bad performance, and that was on Friday. So Utah coming back home, and they've been off for multiple days, so Utah has a rest advantage here as well. I think they're going to show up. I mean, it's a home game. Utah is 1-0 at home with a blowout win at home, so Utah's been better at home. The money is also saying take the points with Utah. We do have Jalen Green, like I said, is hurt for the Suns here. I mean, he was the guy that they got from the Durant trade. He's out, so that's one of their guys who would probably be a starter is not playing here. Not really much to see on the injury report for the Jazz, I wouldn't say. Niang, who was actually on the Celtics briefly during the offseason. The Celtics acquired him in a trade and then traded him away. He's out, but I don't think that's a big deal either. Utah will be the play there. Mostly, it's pretty much just because of the scheduling spot. We'll take the points with Utah. Hell yeah. Hopefully we get these right, man. I kind of want people to disagree with me, to be honest, because I work well when everybody disagrees with me because I'm so contrarian. I'm like, no, I don't want everybody to agree with me, no. But when it's sharp bettors that listen to my show, maybe I should take that as confirmation that I'm doing something right. I'll be like, hell yeah. Tease New Orleans and the under. I would not tease a total. Absolutely not. These totals are... They involve such high numbers, like you get almost no value in a teaser that way. The reason why teasers basically only work in the NFL and nowhere else is because that's the sport where the points have the most value. Like each point is worth way more because the games are a bit lower scoring. In the NBA, the points have almost no value, so I think teasers are an absolute loser in the NBA. I wouldn't do it. I would just play everything like straight up pretty much. Too early to disagree. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, sometimes I turn into angry toad when people disagree, though. I get stubborn because I'm really strong in my opinions. Final play is going to be Portland -2.5. We're going to go with our buddies, the Portland Trailblazers. And yes, they're a road favorite here. Why is that? Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. It's part of the reason why it was something I just didn't take into account at all. I'm an idiot. I just totally missed this fact with the Lakers yesterday. There is an injury here, obviously. Portland, I'm usually going to try to play them as a home team, but I actually think there's value with Portland in this one. I like the spot. Portland's flipped from a pick'em to a 2.5-point favorite, but I think part of that is because of the injury situation where the books just didn't know which way the injury situation was going to go. Portland's getting the actual money, 68% of the cash, 62% of the tickets are on the Lakers. The public is only going to come in on the Lakers, man, because they're the fucking Lakers. But does the public realize that the Lakers are now not only without LeBron still, but they're without Luka as well? Does the public realize that? I don't know if they do. I think part of the reason why the Lakers stepped up and played a really good game last night at Sacramento was because Luka was out. I didn't realize he was going to be out. So it became an injured player theory spot for the Lakers last night, and they were able to get the win and cover against Sacramento there. Now they're coming back home, so they're traveling a little bit from Northern California down to Southern California. They have a big game against Minnesota next. I know they already got their revenge against Minnesota already. On Friday, they played Minnesota. That was a winner. I gave it on the show. Big-time step-up game for the LA there. So it's going to be more of a revenge spot for Minnesota this time. But it's a big game nonetheless. I think it could be cause for a look ahead anyway because it is the Minnesota T-Wolves. And maybe the Lakers just want to beat them again because Minnesota eliminated them from the playoffs last year. So this spot looks like an overlooked spot to me, man. I mean, out of all these games so far, Golden State, Minnesota, Sacramento, Minnesota again next. I think Portland is like the spot on your schedule you're going to pay the least attention to. And you know Portland's going to get up for it because they get to go play the fucking Lakers at the Staples Center or whatever the hell it's called now. The LA Forum. No, I don't even know what it's called now, but whatever it is. Yeah, I think it's a game where you're going to get more focus out of Portland. This is also now the second game of the injured player spot. So when you get a team in the injured player spot like LA was yesterday, they play really well. The next game usually tends to be a little bit of a letdown because they go, oh, okay, we can do this. We played really well. Reeves had a really good game in that game, but I'm going to show you the box score in that game in a minute and show you why it's pretty misleading. Yeah, so I think after that, the team tends to have a bit of a fall back to earth in the next game after that. This is still going to be without Luka and also without LeBron. Although if LeBron was for some reason coming back in this one, I would still play Portland because that would be a reverse injured player spot. But yeah, you're looking at both of them being out, I'm pretty sure, in this game. Although actually LeBron's not listed on the injury report, so am I wrong about that? I don't know. Is LeBron coming back? If he is, I'm still going to make this play, so I don't know. Let me see. Where's LeBron at? He's not listed at all, so he's just not on the active roster at all. Maybe because of the gambling stuff. I don't know. I thought he was supposed to be out for like a month to start the season. I don't know where he's at right now. His son is still there, Bronny James. He'll save them. No, so I think it's a bad spot for the Lakers. It's also a back-to-back with travel, so that I don't like about it either. They're playing a third game in 4 days with travel between those games. I don't like that either. For Portland, Portland is on a back-to-back as well, but they're staying in LA, so they're not really traveling. They played at the LA Clippers. That's another thing. This looks like it's, a travel spot because it's 2 road games in a row, but it's not really because they're literally just staying in the same city. So that's an easy trip, obviously. It's not even a trip. So I think Portland will get up for it. I know they lost last night. They didn't have a good game, but I told you one of the reasons why I was on the Clippers last night was because I thought if Portland was going to have real focus on one of these 2 games, it was going to be on the Lakers, and I think that's still the case. Yes, they're playing a 3rd game in 4 days, but so are the Lakers, so that's kind of a wash. Yeah, we're going to go with it. I know this is going to be my 3rd straight game where I've been on one of the Portland games, and I'm 1-1 in those 2 games so far, but I like it. And then the other thing I like about this is, as I was alluding to, the Lakers win over Sacramento, and Reeves' 51-point performance was pretty misleading because look at what happened in this game. The Lakers had 46 free throw attempts in this game, and Sacramento had 18. Really? Like, are you serious? Like, if that wasn't the case, the Lakers would not have even won this game. Like, it's such a fucking joke, dude. Because statistically, the game was, like, fairly close otherwise, at the very least. Like, how could you have a free throw discrepancy that extreme unless this shit is just being rigged by the refs? I mean, that's insane. There's no way you're going to get a free throw disparity like that again in this one, even though I know it is going to be the Lakers at home this time. Reeves, by the way, the reason why he scored 51 points is because he was 21 for 22 from the free throw line. You think he's going to go to the free throw line 22 times again? Highly doubt it. There's no way. So, and he was 60% from three-point range, 6 for 10. He shot over 50% from the floor. That shit's not going to happen again. He had like an otherworldly game shooting and had just an insane amount of free throw attempts in the game, and he hit almost all of them. That's not going to happen again, even though, yeah, he's a good free throw shooter, but still, that's an outlier, man. That's not going to happen again, so that just reinforces my opinion on the Blazers in this one. Go with the Blazers. Yeah, that's the opinion on that one. Rip City, yeah, that's correct. Hopefully they get it done, even though their city is being ripped to shreds, though. I hate Portland as a city. Coach didn't let him go to the strip club. That would be good, just like I said with the Ravens yesterday. John Harbaugh, who I kept calling Jim by accident, John Harbaugh took everything away, man. No more game time, no more fun for the Ravens. Focus on fucking football. And what did they do? Oh, yeah, they went out and they won the game. How about that? So, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Lakers game was fixed probably, although it was at Sacramento. Usually you see the refs favor the home team more often, but not in that case, and I'm going with the road team in that one too. That was the breakdown. We'll go to the other 2 games here that we have today. I don't have a bet on these, but I have an opinion on these games at least, which Jeffrey is going to hate my opinion in the World Series game, as the World Series now shifts to LA. It's a 1-1 series. LA in this game. So, well, first of all, the bullpens are going to be rested coming into this game, especially LA, because they didn't even use any relief pitchers on Saturday. So they're very rested in their bullpen. I think LA probably has a slightly better bullpen anyway, in my opinion, than Toronto does. Toronto's has just been up and down, and their bullpen's been pretty bad in the playoffs. So I do think I'd give LA the bullpen edge anyway. But part of it, I think, is because they've been controlling the rest scenario better. Neither bullpen was that good during the season. But LA, I mean, their bullpen is more rested. They've been able to do that throughout the playoffs because their starting pitching has been really good. So that's the case again here because Yamamoto gave them a complete game in the last game, and I got a winner on the show with the Dodgers in that one. Even though I don't like the Dodgers, I'm torn because I don't really want to see Canada win either, but I just don't like the Dodgers, man. So, personally, I don't want the Dodgers to win, but I think they're going to, and that's, that's how I do it on the show. I'm trying to predict winners here, man. That's all I'm trying to do here. So, yeah, in this game, I do think LA has the bullpen edge. I actually think they probably have an offensive edge, especially at home here, because they hit better at home. Toronto does have a more patient offense. Their offense was almost as good as LA's this year, and it was better than LA's in the second half of the season. But on the road, on the road for Toronto, at LA, I think LA actually does have a little bit of an offensive edge because their offense was better at home. So I think that's a little bit of an edge for them as well. Starting pitching, I think you have an advantage for the Dodgers as well, as the old guy, Max Scherzer, is going to pitch for Toronto again here. He was decent for a while this season, but I think this is probably going to be his last season of his career, man. I don't know. But he started fading at the end of the season. Toronto gave him a bunch of rest. He came out and he did okay in his first game of the playoffs, but I think it was not as good as it looked. His ERA this year was 5.19, 1.29 whip. Those are not great numbers, obviously. He wasn't good on the road, 5.91 road ERA. And after all that rest, he came out, he pitched okay against Seattle. He only gave up 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. Picked up a win in I think that was an elimination game, right? I don't know. I forget which game that was in the series. Maybe it might not have been an elimination game. I forget which game that was. But the problem that I have with that outing is that he walked 4 guys in the outing. He kind of escaped a little bit in that game, man. So I do worry that his command wasn't really on point. So I am going to worry about Scherzer a little bit coming into this game. Against the Dodgers overall in his career, he's been okay in 172 at-bats. 51-25 strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. That's a lot of walks. 221 batting average is low. 721 OPS is not really that high either. Although they have 7 home runs against him. Freddie Freeman has 3 home runs and 9 walks against him, although he's only 11 for 55. So bad average, but good power against him for Freeman. But I worry a little bit, man, because Scherzer is older now, so a lot of these stats were back when Scherzer was better, and he still walked too many guys. I have some concerns about Scherzer in this one, and I don't have as many about Tyler Glasnow, who is the younger pitcher. Neither of these pitchers pitched many innings this year, so that's good for both pitchers that they're not burned out, but I think Scherzer is the more likely to be burned out. I apologize for my cold here, by the way, or whatever. My voice sounds awful. I hate when I sound like I'm straining. Oh, God, I really hate it, man. And, oh, God, coughing, whatever. Got to get this done, man. Glasnow is the younger pitcher. Scherzer's the older pitcher, so I think he could be more burned out after the same amount of innings. Glasnow had a better season as well, 3.19 ERA, 1.1 whip. He was really good at home, 2.77 home ERA. He's made 3 playoff appearances already. The Dodgers have actually won 7 straight games that he's appeared in going back into the regular season, including all 3 in the playoffs. He has a .68 ERA in the playoffs, an 18-8 strikeout walk ratio. It is too many walks, so he's been a little bit wild in the playoffs as well, but he's also faced good offenses throughout the playoffs, Philly twice and Milwaukee. So he's been good. Going up against Toronto, although Seattle's offense isn't that bad, really, the one that Scherzer faced. Glasnow against Toronto, they have 100 at-bats against him. He has a 33-13 strikeout walk ratio, which is a few too many walks, but 7 of them are Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette, so I think he just kind of pitched around them like a little bit. Guerrero does hit him well, 6 for 17 with a home run, but overall, he's held them to a 210 average and a pretty low 641 OPS, so Glasnow has the better numbers pitching-wise as well. I would lean to the Dodgers in this one if that wasn't obvious already. They're up from -185 to -195. 72% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Dodgers. I think they have the edge all around in this game. They're getting the money. The total is actually pretty high. It's flipped from 8 juice to the under to 8 juice to the over. 69% of tickets on the over, 70% of the cash on the over. I mean, yeah, you can argue the bullpens aren't that great, although the Dodgers bullpen definitely rested. Both bullpens didn't pitch yesterday. I mean, really the only thing that I could see really lending itself towards the over, other than the fact that the bullpens just generally aren't that great, is that Scherzer might get a little bit, he might get blown up in this game, man. Like, I don't know. But I don't really see, I don't have as strong of an opinion on the total, though. It seems pretty high for a World Series game, though. So maybe the over does make sense in the game. 2 good offenses, too, of course. But I like better pitching over better offense. I do think Glasnow will pitch well in this game. I would probably lay the run line with the Dodgers in that game if I was going to play it, although I know you're going to need them to win by more than 1 run if you do that. And you don't know if they're going to get the at-bats in the 9th inning. Well, if they get the at-bats in the 9th inning, then you're screwed anyway, probably, too, because that means that the game's too close. So you need them to cover that number without batting in the 9th inning. Makes it a little bit more difficult, although the Dodgers are actually not a bad team to do that with because they do score a lot at home. So they're actually better at covering that 1.5 run line at home than most teams in the league are. So that's probably the way that I would go in that one. Blackberry brandy. I'm sober though, man. Blackberry brandy sounds like a stripper or something, man. I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I think the Dodgers win that game. You could go Dodgers over their team total. That actually makes sense too because the money's coming in on the over. I do think the Dodgers are going to win this game. I think they're going to be the team that gets more of the runs in the game. So if you play the Dodgers over their team total, that aligns with that as well. That might actually be the better way of approaching that game. I don't think I want to give it out as a play because I do think that the Glasnow versus Scherzer matchup is where you get like the best edge on the Dodgers, though. So I do think, yeah, Dodgers laying the -1.5 runs, I think makes the most sense there. It won't make a play for me, though. And then we do have the NFL Monday night game, which I already talked about this the other night on my NFL game. In my opinion, is the same on this one. The Chiefs have gone from a 5.5-point favorite, which was the opener. That was like the look ahead prior to last week's games. They're up to 11. The reason for that is that Jaden Daniels is hurt again for Washington, so it will be Marcus Mariota again. But Marcus Mariota, I mean, he fits into this Washington system. He's played already multiple games. He's had to start multiple games with Daniels injured. Daniels has been injured a lot, man. So Mariota, I don't think he's this much of a downgrade. I don't think he's like a 5-6 point downgrade here. I mean, he's still not that old. He's a mobile quarterback. He fits into this system decently. He's not as good as Daniels, but he's not that bad. Not bad enough to justify like this much of a line move. You also have a low total here, actually having dropped from 50.5 to 48. Probably some of that drop was also because of the Daniels injury, but with a total that's in the 40s like that and you're getting a double-digit point spread, it also makes sense to look towards the underdog. So I am going to still lean to taking the points with Washington in this one. Plus, again, it's the injured player theory spot, so you get extra value there. But I think it's a decent spot to look towards Washington anyway. 76% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the Chiefs, though. But I think all we can really take away from that is that the Chiefs are public. It's one of these primetime games where you know the public, if they lost yesterday, which I think they did generally, they're going to be looking to try to make some money back on this, and they're probably going to try to get some of the money back on the Chiefs and probably on the over because the Chiefs have been putting up a lot of points. So they're going to see this, Washington, they put up a lot of points. The Chiefs have been putting up a lot of points. The public will go with the over in this game too. So I actually think an under might make sense in this game as well. 72% of tickets on the over, 71% of the cash on the over. So less of the money is on the over. Washington gave up a ton of points last week, and yes, their defense is a concern. The Chiefs' defense is really good. Washington's defense is not good. As we can see, they got blown out by Dallas last week, but I think that's going to be extra motivation for Washington here because they did get blown out in a really ugly fashion by Dallas last week. So I think it is kind of a bounce-back spot for Washington here. Although one thing to be concerned about is it's a fourth road game in 5 weeks, so that is pretty difficult. They had to go to Atlanta, then all the way to the Pacific Coast, then all the way back home, then out to Dallas, now up to Kansas City. So, yeah, that does take its toll. So I do worry about all the travel for Washington, which is part of the reason why I don't really want to make this a play. But I do think it's a bounce-back spot for them off that ugly loss, which was a game where 66 points were scored, by the way. So that's going to put the public on probably both on Kansas City and on the over. Kansas City, of course, has been scoring a lot. They've scored 30-plus points in 3 of their last 4 games. And the only one where they didn't, they scored 28. Coming off a blowout of the Raiders, where the Chiefs couldn't have looked better in that game. Beating the Raiders, I know it's only the Raiders, but they beat them 31-0. You got to think the Chiefs are going to be feeling pretty high on themselves. And again, the public's going to see that and want an over here because the Chiefs scored a lot of points. Chiefs coming into this one off that blowout divisional win. They do have Buffalo up next, and you know that's going to be a big game for both teams. It's a revenge spot for Buffalo, so it matters even more to Buffalo, though Buffalo was certainly not looking ahead yesterday. They just took care of business and crushed Carolina yesterday. I wasn't sure which way that game was going to go, to be honest, because part of it was positive with Buffalo coming out of a bye that they went into on a bad note. So I couldn't really read that game that well. But this game's going to be big regardless. Kansas City against Buffalo. So I think that's going to be a look-ahead spot for Kansas City here too. So another reason to look towards Washington here. It seems to line up, taking the points with Washington here. If you want to play it, do it. I mean, I'm not gonna actually recommend it as a play because it doesn't quite fall into the category of being strong enough for me personally. A lot of that is subjective though. But yeah, I mean, in your pick'ems and whatever you might be in, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Washington plus the points in the game, the pick'em game where I'm just picking every game in the NFL, and that's gonna do it, man. I think that's all. Save my voice, Nate. What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Who Tailgate Ted? Is he one of the Washington fans? Dude, I'm old. I just remember the. Do you remember the Hogettes? That's all I remember, man. Washington. They had those huge men who would dress like old ladies with pig noses. You remember that? They would wear like the dresses and the hats. Bring back the Hogettes, man. Bring back the fucking Redskins. 0% Guinness. I don't think I've ever had that, actually. I like Guinness as a beer. I don't really like them as a company, and they did just cater to like the stupid vegan crowd recently. The vegans were flipping out on them for using fish oil in their process, and then they stopped doing it. I'm like, really? Come on, man. I think it actually affected the flavor of the beer too, so I don't know. I'm a Murphy's guy mostly. If you can find Murphy's Irish Stout wherever you are, I like it, man. It's a lot less common than Guinness. I'm in an Irish area here, though, so we have Murphy's at a lot of places here. The Irish bars, that's another Irish Stout. I think it has a more robust flavor to it. It has more like chocolate notes to it, I would say, than Guinness does. I like Murphy's, though, man. I'm a fan of it. That's going to do it for me, though. 0% beers are a huge thing now, though, man. And a couple of these companies do really well with it now. Athletic Brewing has a lot of different beers. Surprising how much variety you can get. Haven't had any at home, though. Like, since I went sober, I've never had any beer or any alcohol in my house at all, I don't think. Except I think I have a bottle of gin that somebody gave me as a gift at one point that I haven't opened. But other than that, no. I've had some non-alcoholic beers, like when I've gone out to bars and stuff, though, just because, I don't know, it feels like you kind of gotta do something, right? Like, you know, you're at the bars want you to spend some money there, so it's like, all right, you got to do something like that. So yeah, there's non-alcoholic wine, there's non-alcoholic cocktails. It's all taken off, man. I kind of like that as a sober man. There are a few more beer companies too, like Go Brewing, and then there's another one too. I forget the name of it, but I get ads for them on like Facebook and stuff. Facebook knows I'm sober, apparently. I'm like, holy shit, dude, we're being watched. It's terrifying. Like, Facebook, all my ads are for like concerts and non-alcoholic beer. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do you know? How do you know? I don't know, man. That's gonna do it. Thank you, sir. Hopefully the plays get there once again. They're all NBA today. Pelicans -2, Jazz +1.5, Blazers -2.5. That's gonna do it. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I want to change my setup a little bit here. Maybe change the name of the show. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we keep the show taken off, though. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Better Off Dead. Like, subscribe to the channel here, of course. Audio platforms. Give me a good review on iTunes, Spotify. That helps me out as well. It's all good, man. Listening on there helps me out as well. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. And then we got the Patreon, patreon.com/LearnToToad. Bonus stuff there, Spotify, Uke feed, and prioritize requests. That's going to do it. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. You're in the liquor business. You think the liquor business is going down? I don't think it is. They're probably going to get, like, I don't know. They'll probably get some sort of bailouts, too, from governments, but the governments want to keep people, like, drunk and at home. You know what I mean? They want people to be idiots and not know what's going on. Just like during the lockdowns. Like, why was beer, like, still allowed to be sold? You know what I mean? So, no, I don't think the liquor business is going anywhere. Breweries are still a fun time, man. I loved going to breweries back when I was a drinker. Like, you can get, like, just things that they only have at that brewery. You get the stuff straight from the tap. You get to really see how that, you know, some of the breweries will let you, like, watch the process. I love that, man. The sales are going down except for clear alcohols, basically. Don Julio tequila and Tito's vodka, yeah. I mean, people are trying to be healthier, so they're going with, like, the lower carb liquors and whatever, like less sugar and whatever. Vodka soda, very popular with like when I was doing keto, more crazy than I'm doing it now. And there were guys who were on keto who like they were doing like vodka sodas as their like low carb drink, even though of course vodka is potato based. There's still starch, but they were doing the vodka soda with a lime in it. It's definitely not bad. Tequila, I'm a little bit less of a fan of tequila, but it's all right. You could do the tequila with lime as well. Whatever you want to do with that. You could do a tequila and soda probably with lime. Is that I forget what the difference is between that and a fucking ranch water. I forget what the ranch water cocktail is. That might have simple syrup in it too. I forget, but I think ranch water is also like, it is tequila and lime, but maybe it does have simple syrup in it, which you don't want as a keto person. So I don't know. That's going to do it. A major brewery just closed in Philly, Iron Hill. I don't know if I know Iron Hill or not. That does suck, though. We haven't had any of the major breweries around here close, I don't think. So that's going to do it, man. Thanks for hanging out. Nate, Jeffrey, just you two this morning, I think. Peace for now, man. Let's get some wins today.